talking about some news that just happened yesterday in the papers, and mainly New York Congressman um, Collins is charged with insider trading in stocks. Um, it's sort of a little complicated in a way because he was on a board of directors and uh, involved in a company in Australia that that was working on a cure, some kind of cure for multiple sclerosis. And he had a lot of stock in the company. His son had stock. His son's fiance had stock, and then her father had stock, and there were some other people that had stock in that company in Australia,
Wow.
which he recommended to them to go ahead and start buying. Now, this whole occurrence, and you have to read it real close, happened June um, June 17th. June 17th of 2017. I was thinking it just happened yesterday, but it didn't because
Wow.
he went before the court yesterday with his son and the son's father, and they all pled not guilty to the charge of insider trading, and also they pled they let him out on a $500,000 bond,
Wow.
and they took away the passports from the son and the father. Now, uh, if you have to look at this going back a year, because I think that's when it occurred, and that would have been June 17th, um, 2017. And on that particular day, Collins was at a picnic, sitting at a picnic in Washington, and he had a call. And the call was from the company in Australia,
Mm.
and they told him that these big tests that they were doing, it was a small company, the tests failed. They didn't have a cure for multiple sclerosis. They didn't have nothing.
Oh,
And it
wow.
looks like the company was going under because that was their main thing that they were working on. Um, he immediately started calling his son, and they have a record of the calls. He called him 5 times. The first 4 times the son didn't answer. The fifth time he answered. He said, "Look, you better get going, start moving, and you better start getting rid of this stock."
Oh, wow.
Because supposedly that day the stock went down 90%.
Mm.
So the son run as hard as he could and got him and his girl he's going to marry and her father, and the three of them
How smart.
start selling all the stock they can. And actually, uh, because of that, they did not lose their money, which was over $700,000 that they had in the stock. And so they sold everything. But now Collins did not sell his stock, and that's one of the things he's relying on. We'll talk to him. He says, "I don't care what you say. I didn't sell none of my stock. I still have it. I own it, and it's worthless." And this is a little over a year later. So, um,
But the son did.
yeah. The son and his father-in-law, they sold as hard as they could to avoid $768,000 in losses.
How much did he Collins have in it, though?
I don't know what Collins had in it because Collins had been in the company for a while, and he helped them, and for some reason he was sitting on the board of directors on a company in Australia as a long ride to the meetings.
Mm.
So they got him for insider trading. They also got him for lying to an FBI agent. So when you read the article in the papers, it sounds like it happened yesterday, but it didn't. It happened over a year ago because when they went to this hearing for a bond, Collins was sitting there with his lawyer and everything. And then the bond He pled not guilty, and the bondsman set his bond at $500,000. But what is strange, though, as soon as that hearing was over, what did Collins do? He went on worldwide TV on CNN, because that's where I saw him, and that's probably the last thing I would do if I just got through a bond hearing and some charges and things like that. I guess he went on nationwide TV. That probably goes around the world, CNN, because he is a congressman. He says, I'm staying a congressman. I'm not guilty, and I'm going to fight this. Now, there are a couple committees that he was on in Congress, and I think Ryan talked about taking him off of those jobs, committee jobs, because of this, this arrest for the for this stock, and but because he was an insider, I don't know if he was or not. It's strange to me, though, is why he sat there with his lawyer and pled guilty. I just can't figure that out. I don't think I would do it. I'd want to figure this out before I'd want to talk to all the people around the world. I give them credit for that, but I just have never seen it before. Mm-hmm. You come out of one hearing and then go straight to CNN TV and start talking to people around the world. And don't worry, if that internet.
Well, he's not guilty.
That internet's working because we have somebody in Russia we do a couple of things with, and if we just like I'm talking now, if I misspell a word or make a mistake, he calls me within 1 minute. Says, yeah, that word's wrong. You made a mistake. This young guy that was here for a while, now he's over there, and he does some things for us, some research and things like that. But it's going to be interesting to see how this comes out. Now, also for the 500, they charged his son, and they charged the son's father-in-law. But there are other people, 3 or 4 other ones, that were involved in the stock, and they said buy the stock, they bought it, and then they told them to sell it, they sold it, but they weren't charged. Had some different people that he knew in the U.S. and around Congress that were buying stock in this company, because naturally,
what about the dog?
If the multiple sclerosis cure came in, then the stock would really go straight up the ladder. But naturally, when they got the call on June 17th that the test failed, the company was going broke. That's the last call you want to get, and it was probably the last call from the company. Although Collins, for some reason, I don't know how he was thinking, he didn't sell his stock, he says. He says he still has all his shares, but they're worthless. Well, let's see how this comes out, and we'll be talking about it more later. Thank you.
So the